So the next question is from Benjam or Benjamin or Ben. I'm going to call him Ben. He says, "Hey guys, for some reason I have always been baffled by siloing a site. After watching a few tutorial videos you created, Bradley, in the SM YouTube channel, it seems breathtakingly simple. Yeah, silos can be overcomplicated very easily, especially using the complex silo structure. And that's what, I've talked about many times. That's why I prefer to try to use the simple silo structure, which is just a category and post hierarchy. So there's only two levels of depth to any type of, to the category structure within the site. A complex silo structure has three levels, right? Because you have a parent page, parent category, child page, subcategory, then you have posts. And it can create some very tricky situations, especially with local projects where you are trying to duplicate locations for example, for like a service area business. Okay, so a service area business that has the same two services, but they cover multiple locations. So trying to build the location silos into topical silos is difficult if you're using the traditional silo method, with categories and the complex silo structure, or vice versa, building topical silos or service-based silos within location silos. Again, it creates some very tricky things that happen with the URL structure, with slugs, because of having duplicate slugs. So anyways, my point in telling you all of that is that I prefer to use the simple silo method as much as possible, because it is much, again, just as the name connotes, it's a lot easier to manage. It's easier to build and it's easier to manage. So when you add additional silos, or what you call like a bolt-on silo, it's also a lot easier to manage when you have a simple silo structure. So yes, it can be incredibly complicated, or it can be incredibly simple. It really depends on how you lay it out up front, which I think is very important. So to carry on, he says, I ordered a deep keyword package. As it mentioned, it had keywords listed in the report by silo. Yeah, they're suggested silos. So to use that to create content for my authority site with silo architecture, is it now simply a matter of creating the category pages for the silo keywords and posts for the supporting keywords in each silo, then linking them all together as described in the video? I think I may have been overcomplicating this. Is it that simple? Yes, it really is. The suggested silos, again, you can still go through there and clean out things that aren't 100% relevant to your project. There's going to be stuff in there, because we cast kind of a wide net with all the tools that are used and everything to create those keyword reports for you. So obviously you're going to have to go through there and really clean it down and narrow it down to just your most relevant keyword phrases, as well as the long tails and everything else. But really it comes down to that. If you understand how to set up the structure and then how to link, and so remember, a silo, you're going to be adding depth to it, right? So the more supporting articles you post within a particular silo, that's more depth to it. Width would be additional categories, right? So there's width and depth. So a siloed site can be as little as one silo with a ton of depth to it, right? You just keep adding content to whatever your top level market keyword is. You keep adding supporting content, right? Writing content that's relevant, that has targeting longer tail phrases, or you can even combine and target multiple types of similarly related phrases per supporting article. You can do it that way as well. But then linking them together with proper internal linking, which again, we talk a lot about that kind of stuff in the mastermind, as well as RYS Academy. But it's very important to understand how to also link properly, internal linking from within the silos, so that you're not creating dead points or points where you have loss of link equity or loss of link juice. And that happens if you don't know how to do it correctly. But the short answer is yes, it's as simple as that. Create your top level categories, your top level keywords, then start taking the supporting keywords and start adding content within those categories. You place the posts within those categories, and then you daisy chain them together, or whatever your internal linking strategy is going to be within that silo. And that's pretty much it for the on-page part of it. Any comments, guys?
Yeah, this guy has seen the light. Benjamin, thank you. It is that simple. If you want to make it that simple, or it can get really complicated if you want to make it complicated. Nobody knows your niche, or nobody should know your niche better than you. What we're giving you is what we suggest you do. And then we also give you other options like categories, subcategories, and then supporting keywords. But you have to go in there, go into the questions and answers, and see what we did in there, what we gave you back. look into Power Suggest Pro, look into SEMrush, and see what was done in there, because there may be some things in there that you can use for supporting, or just to add additional, as Bradley mentioned, depth and breadth to your silo, if that's what you want. There's so much information in there. Like, I don't think there's any way that you can use it all, or you have years of information actually when you get that back. How you set that up is up to you. And just so you don't go back and reuse any of the long tails, just mark it off in red, because it's given to you in a spreadsheet. When you use it, kill it, right? It's in red, or strike through it, so that you can just go back through all of the others and pick out what you want your people to write about. Tell them, you should have VAs, by the way, doing all of this, or hire someone. You tell them what it is that you want them to write about, to focus on that keyword and all of those keywords under that, but make it all conversational so that it all flows, and so that the bot comes in and gets a better understanding of your data. Use the Ultimate SEO Pro plugin, right? Sorry, SEO Ultimate Pro plugin to do all the interlinking. We showed, not we, but Jeffrey Smith did a fantastic job of coming into the first Heavy Hitter Club webinar and showing how you actually do all of that, how you create the semantic relationships, and how you tie it all together in your unstructured data, so that you give your unstructured data some kind of structure for the bot, because you're creating all of these semantic relationships. So it's not only in the content that you're producing, but you're relating them to one another through your interlinking, which is really, really important, so that it all flows. Now, another thing about this is, and I'll just give a quick example. Guys, those of you in the personal injury attorney niche, what you should be targeting is civil law. That's the market level category, because anything that's personal injury, divorce, bankruptcy, you name it, it's all civil law. And so personal injury is part of civil law. And if you go after the top, then it makes it easier to rank for personal injury. Now, of course, it's hyper competitive. But if you're going one market above everyone else, it makes it easier for the long tails to come up. I'm hoping that makes sense to everyone. You're going to do all of your research for criminal law. You're going to fill a website with all of that information. Now, yes, it's a lot of work, but when you do all of that and you create the semantic relationships, you're interlinking, you're using the plugin the way that you're supposed to, you're using that deep link juggernaut the way that it's supposed to be used, the tags, and everything else that Jeffrey Smith teaches, because he has extensive teaching for that plugin. Guys, it makes it dead simple to start ranking. Like I'm not going to say immediately, but much more quickly than you would otherwise. Then you bring in the rest of the teaching. Then you bring in that SEO Power Shield to add all of the relevance into it. Then you do your structured data. So now what you're getting is a 2-for-1. You're getting your unstructured data, giving it some structure, and then you're bringing in the structured data to like seal it for the bot on exactly what it is that your website is about. Now, I just sounded really complicated, but it all goes back to how you set up your initial structure. And if you keep it simple, then everything else is going to flow much more simply than it would otherwise, because you can really confuse yourself once you start branching out into the structured data and how to create the parent and child relationships, organization, location, and all of the different things that you can do when it comes to structured data. But I think this is a great, and thank you. And yes, deep keyword research in mgyb.co. Go pick it up, because I don't think there's anyone doing anything better than we are.